had the door going in front of it.
Oh no, dude. I also want to add, I think...
Yeah, through the specimen.
I didn't see Mao, I just saw you.
No, yeah, I saw Mao. I saw Mao. Mao was doing something says. So unless he ventured from where, unless Mao's the killer, I don't know, dude.
I came from west side admin, I ran down to the decon, I did my side, it wasn't even something, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then I ran out, I'm literally like in that little decon area, about to go into labs because I got my last 3 tasks. So
Oh, that was you? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, Copper, how long were you looking for Bruzy?
For a while.
He was just sitting in
No, I was. I checked vitals, and then I saw yellow dead, so I saw Udi come out of admin or whatever, on my side, and then I just thought it was Udi.
Yeah, only person I
That's why I went down to the specimen, because I was looking at the specimen to see if he goes to the body with his life, but now that's what now I come down.
Yeah.
Excuse me, my kitten.
Really, I hope you shut up.
I'm sure someone else is going to do reactor, bro. That ain't my job. I got 3 things to resolve here. You can still get in the lab. Oh, what are you doing, mate? Oh, okay, it's definitely Elbow. Okay, it's getting dodgy. It's gotta be Elbow, it must be Elbow, Because he didn't come down with me to decon. Let me out, man. I'm correct. This. What is that? Rule was very specifically you're not allowed to close admin. Alright, for starters, a rule was very specifically that you're not allowed to close admin. And the only person outside of admin is Damon.
What do you mean?
We were all locked in admin.
That's incorrect. So there was 2 bodies at Waterville. It was purple and pink.
Okay.
And I was gonna report it, but I thought I was the last one that passed, so I couldn't get into laboratory because the only way I could get through the specimen. I walked into laboratory, then I thought we were running out of time, and then I walked, into the specimen, then I walked out, and I didn't see Elpa. I didn't see Elpa when I first
on the admin table.
Yeah, he was on admin table because when I came out of decon, I saw him
so
there.
I'm passing Elpa just a little bit, because when I saw the body, you weren't there, Elpa. And then when I doubled back, because I was gonna go re-record the body.
Real quick, I went up into medbay, I did the task thing, I saw Mal on my back way down, and I went straight to admin table. How did I get
Wait, Elf, how did you get into it? What? How is it me? Yeah, you said Damon or Mal. We don't have to vote.
We don't have to vote this again.
It doesn't matter, I can't do my last task.
How did you get in, Elpa? How did you get in?
How did you get into decon? Because I ran down there straight away and you weren't in there and then you were magically in admin.
round began, I ran straight into decon.
I don't know, because I was pretty quick down there and I didn't see it. I was the last task.
So he hasn't done that task.
Me, I can't do it. The door's shut.
Alright, we're trying that 50-50 now.
Well, we need to. I can't do a task and they don't need to do
Who
it.
do you think it is now? Who do you think it is?
Okay, I've got sus on both of them. The reason I got sus on both of them is because, so I ran down there pretty quickly. Admittedly, I did go the wrong way at first, but I went down there instantly. I would have seen the decon doors open at least. I didn't see that. I then run all the way through specimen up to the other side of decon, and Elba was already in there, like running towards me. And then he like doubled back to me, and then went right. Yeah, but that was me exiting, not going in. I went in there, right? Did my 2 tasks. I went to go do the third, the door was shut. I couldn't do it. And then Elba was already in there, like somehow.
So the thing is, I literally saw Hyphy. I ran into admin. I saw Hyphy just like on my inside circle vision on the left.
Yeah.
And then I checked the thing, and then he died. So it literally happened like as I walked into admin.
Okay.
And then I walked back out. I saw the 2 bodies. That did report. We were gonna go straight and do the thing.
Yeah. Dude,
My
also, I was about to say.
And then I went to specimen, but I did not see Elba in admin. And then
I saw Elba in admin.
The door's closed. I go back to specimen, and Elba's there.
Literally, I went up to through specimen to medbay. I did my check the anomaly task, and then went all the way back to admin table. Oh, well, name is gone anyway.
No. Dude, I'm telling you, okay, because when I ran out, I saw Elba at admin table.
Oh, bro. Were you in the best stadium when that happened? Because I tried to report. I did. I was actually report.
gamble, Mando.
Why are cats bad? Well, not those cats. I know why those cats are bad. But cats in general, why are they bad? There's this website called TV Tropes, which you should absolutely not access because as soon as you click on one link, you'll end up opening 5 others and spend an hour of your life reading about obscure media trends. But if you decide to ignore my warning and do it anyway, you'll see that it's a database of ideas and events that are often depicted in media. And that's what a trope is, by the way. If a thing happens a lot in media, it's considered a trope. And what that website is trying to do, essentially, is catalog all of those notable repeating patterns in movies, shows, and the like. And if you take a look at their list of cat-related tropes, you start to notice that they tend to be a lot more negative than positive. Cats are mean, cats are snarkers, cats are the pets of evil masterminds, cats are secondary, cats are lazy. Now please click away from the website before you spend another hour in there. TV Tropes is not a perfect website, nor is it an accurate representation of every piece of media ever. But when you start to search through your brain, you start to see that they kinda have a point. Cats in Western media are, many times, considered villains. Whether it's because the cats themselves have an unpleasant or unhelpful personality, or because they are associated with evil people. At best, they are mysterious, albeit unhelpful, or they are the secondary character to a story that is about some other kind of animal, usually a dog. But this is not a video about dogs. It is about cats. Part of this phenomenon in cat depictions is easy to understand. In human-made fiction, we will, of course, characterize animals according to our own readings of their behaviors, filtered through our own very human sense of morals and values. An animal that just lies around all day will be called lazy, especially when compared to more active pets. Cats really have an elegant walk, which is easy to translate as regal or snooty. These stereotypes in media aren't exclusive to fiction, but instead they are merely a translation of how we understand and interact with different animals. Cats have a way of showing companionship that many perceive as introverted, and their own take on personal space can come off as inconsiderate, especially if you're not used to it. If you scroll back in history a little bit, you might remember tales of how cats were worshipped in Egypt. And if you scroll back even further, you might even recall the theory of how cats domesticated themselves, simply because they showed up around human settlements and stuck around by making themselves useful, such as by catching mice. Therefore, the idea that humans have been known for loving cats isn't revolutionary, and just because cats tend to have a bad name in fiction doesn't mean that there aren't cat people around anymore. But there has to be a reason why those negative tropes exist in the first place. If you fast forward a bit to the Middle Ages, you remember that cats were usually associated with witches, who, according to the good old Catholic Church, were evil and deserved to be burned. If witches were evil, their pets had to be evil too, and since witches were usually women, you can start to see why cats were also usually linked to female imagery. Something tells me that the church might just be anti-women, but that's a whole nother can of worms. All I'm saying is that the amount of cat hate ended up growing from this point on. It's easy to twist a cat's natural chill attitude into scheming and plotting, and if you add a bit of nasty magic to it, you just found yourself a nice villain archetype. And then, if a cat is the bad guy, you might as well get yourself a good guy, which, as we all know, is usually the dog. If there's a story where a cat is being mean or arrogant, there's usually a nice noble dog to contrast them. You can straight up turn them into enemies, or you can just have each of them doing their own separate thing. But what the dog is doing is good, and what the cat is doing is evil. So you've got an animal that has this whole historical baggage of being considered the villain. and a huge part of it supposedly comes from an unwarranted bias spread by their opposers. And these preconceptions still affect the way we portray this creature in media to this very day. Let's put a pin on that idea, because now I want to take you on a journey to a future that is not so distant from our own, in a place that might as well exist today. Let's stroll into the fictional city of Nagasaki, because I want to talk about Isle of Dogs. Bet you weren't expecting that from a video about cats. Well, I'm just full of surprises that way. Once upon a time, there was a man named Wes Anderson, and he made a whole bunch of amazing movies. And then in 2018, he decided to venture once more into the land of stop motion and bring us Isle of Dogs.